The RBA says that low-income earners equate to about 1/4 of Australia's mortgage book. Of this group, the number in mortgage stress has increased from about 25% to 45% in the past year. Today's Financial Stability Review has also revealed about 16% of existing home loans are unable to be refinanced, either due to falling property prices or rising interest rates. Joining me now on the set is BetaShares economist David Bassanese. David, thanks for your time. Let's start with the RBA. Obviously kept rates on hold this week at 3.6%. Do you think they're going to lift later this year, or is 3.6 the limit?
Look, I think it will be the limit. I think we are seeing signs of consumer spending starting to slow. We do have a whole bunch of fixed rate mortgages that are going to be reset over the next few months as well, which is going to put further strain, as you mentioned, on some households. So on balance, I think, yeah, they are going to be on hold now. I think they're done. But yeah, again, subject to the economy, of course, and the inflation numbers. But assuming they pan out well and growth does slow moderately as expected, then I think they've done their work.
Yeah, the governor keeps talking about Australians being on a narrow path, our economy. How close are we to a recession?
Look, I think I don't think we're close. I mean, what keeps me most confident is the fact that wages growth in Australia is still, people complain about wages being low or not high enough, but the reality is it's meaning that inflation is at least the demand side of the economy is not driving inflation. It's more of the supply side factors. And as they peter out, then inflation can come down. So provided wages remain contained, the RBA can support the economy if need be. And so that means we don't need to go into recession. So again, if there's a negative shock that the economy does slow too fast, the RBA can quickly change course and cut rates. If inflation and wages were high, it wouldn't be able to do that.
The Governor spoke yesterday. He doesn't like using the term mortgage cliff, but there's a lot of people moving from fixed rates this year, about 880,000, to floating rate mortgages. How much of a concern is that for the Reserve Bank Governor right now?
Look, it's going to be, so it's unusual. We had a big surge in people taking out fixed rates during COVID, right? Interest rates were very low. The RBA cash rate was at zero. So it's worth watching. I mean, there's a lot of analysis. I mean, I think the cruel aspect of it is that it's going to help. Overall, it shouldn't have a major macroeconomic impact, but it is going to particularly hurt a narrow slice of households. So there's a narrow slice of households that are going to be particularly hard hit. But because it's still a relatively narrow slice, it shouldn't have a major macro impact on the economy.
We've got a chart we can put up on the screen, but basically it's some research you've done showing fixed rate rollover is the equivalent of 5 rate hikes. That seems like a really steep increase for someone's monthly repayments.
Yeah, so the way it works, what the RBA have estimated is that the rate rises to date have increased the average mortgage rate for all households by about 2%. So across all mortgages in Australia, the average rate's gone up by about 2%. And that's with 350 points of rate rises by the RBA. The RBA themselves estimate that there's going to be another 0.7% increase in the average mortgage rate across all mortgages, which is about a third of the increase we've already had. And so a third of the 350 is another, 125 points of tightening, which is about, 5 rate rises if they do it by 25. So that's how I've come up with that number. But it basically means the tightening of policy coming through the fixed rate mortgages is equivalent to about 1/3 of the tightening we've already seen from the RBA over the past year.